If you like this video, subscribe to my channel, but let's get right to it. What the hell is going on with Superman? You know, it's really sad. Henry Cavill came out, I guess it was like sometime a week ago, and was talking about how he wasn't finished with the role. It almost seemed like he was pleading to Warner Brothers to give him one more film. He said there was a lot of stuff to do, and he wasn't ready to quit Superman, and then literally like 2 days later, some news broke on comingsoon.net that David Corenswet, I guess that's how you say his name, Corenswet, was the front runner to replace Henry Cavill. And look, the guy's got blue eyes. He's got that basic chiseled look that he could be Superman. He's on a Netflix series called The Politician. I have not seen it yet, but they say he's like the front runner to replace, because J.J. Abrams is now taken over Superman, and it's just very frustrating because Henry Cavill did such a good job with Superman, with the Man of Steel. And then Batman vs. Superman started the downward spiral, and Justice League was just pissed all over his character. And, they keep talking about the Snyder Cut and all this other kind of stuff. Whatever. They may release that one day. I don't know. But then, to show you what kind of cool guy Henry Cavill is, he's doing press junket stuff now for The Witcher. And some guy asked him a loaded question about toxic fandom. And he had a great, I'm paraphrasing, but he basically said he felt toxic fandom was passion and not toxic fandom. And it was really good to see the interview. And, he explained that like people like play these video games for years, or they follow comic books for years, and they have in their head this own version of what the character is going to be. And then when an actor portrays it, sometimes it falls a little short. Or like a director makes a choice that was out of character for a character, or, kind of like what Rian Johnson did with Luke Skywalker, just totally pissing on the character. And, they call it toxic fandom, where people have outrage, but these are people that, like, especially with Superman, that's been around since the 40s or whatever, the comic books, or prior to that. And all the different versions of Superman over the years, whether it be television or the comics or the movies, people have a certain expectation when it comes to Superman. And same thing with Luke Skywalker, 40 years of Star Wars. They have an expectation. You bring the guy back, and then you make him a wuss and a cowering guy that's hiding on an island. And yeah, it pisses off the fans. And then they label us toxic fandom. And that's just bullshit, man, because, it is like Henry Cavill said, it's passion. We are so passionate about the subject matter that we vent and we get all pissed off about it. And I'm sure there's a small sect of people that, can be like misogynists or racists or whatever towards a character, but, or an interpretation of a character on screen. But for the most part, if you screw up the comic book, like heaven forbid they ever made the Nicolas Cage, Tim Burton version of Superman, people would have lost their shit. I've seen the behind the scenes stuff on that. I've seen what Nick Cage looked like in the costume. They have a documentary about it, a fan-made documentary. And the bottom line is, like, Warner Brothers was right to pull the plug on that shit because it was awful. And so, J.J. Abrams is coming around. He's going to reboot this whole thing. And, we may never get to see Henry Cavill again as Superman. And that sucks because I just feel like he didn't get a fair shot. But I feel like they want to put all the Zack Snyder universe stuff behind everyone and just move forward with all new stuff, with Rob Pattinson's Batman and so on and so on and so on. I just feel like it's still a mess, but I feel like you still could do something with Henry Cavill as Superman within that Zack Snyder universe, but never reference all the other stuff. You could. But I understand that they want to clear the slate, and it's just very frustrating. But it's nice to still see Superman stuff coming out, and other things that Warner Brothers trying to figure out how to make Superman relevant. What do you mean? How do you make him relevant in today's age? You make him who Superman is, for peace, justice, and the American way, and you make him that golden guy, that beacon of hope. You make Superman who he is, and the audience is going to follow and love it because that's what Superman is. When you go too far off, and you make him like an emo Superman, and you make him dark or something, you're not going to get it right. He needs to be beautiful colors and that beautiful corn gold kind of setting that the Donner films kind of captured, and yeah, I mean, it's just a shame. Poor Henry Cavill. I'm pissed. That it looks like he's not going to get his shot again. But it's nice to see him handle loaded questions by interviewers that probably wanted to get him fired up to get some sort of quote out of him against fans. And the guy was like, nah, toxic fandom, it's passion. I loved it. It was one of the best things I heard in the last 24 hours or so. My hat's off to Henry Cavill. My hat's off to his take as Superman. I wish he'd get another shot, but I don't think so. What do you guys think? Do you think Henry Cavill is going to get another shot at playing the Man of Steel? I don't know, man. Let's talk about it in the comments section, and we'll see you on the next one.